Hello, guys. Welcome back here. It's a wonderful and a very bright day. On today's lesson, we're going to talk about breeder chickens, the complete guide to raising profitable poultry breeder. All right. So, most poultry farmers focus only on meat or eggs, but the real power in poultry farming is hidden in something many farmers or people ignore, which is the breeder chickens. Okay, because if you control breeders, you are not just a farmer anymore, you are producing the next generation of birds. You are supplying the entire poultry market. In this masterclass, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to understand what breeder farming is in a very simple way. So, first and foremost, what breeder chicken? Let me explain this in the easiest way. Not all chickens are the same. Some chickens are raised to lay eggs we eat. Some are raised for meat. But breeder chickens are different. These ones are raised to produce fertile eggs. Okay? Eggs that can hatch into chicks. So instead of selling eggs for consumption, you are producing chicks that other farmers will buy and raise. That is why breeder farming is more powerful. You are not at the end of the business chain, you are at the beginning. All right. So, why breeder farming makes more money? Okay, think about this carefully. If you sell one egg, you make small money. But if that same egg is fertilized and hatch into a chick, the value increases immediately. Now imagine producing hundreds or thousands of chicks every week. That's how breeder farmers make serious money. They don't just sell products, they sell production potential. Alright? So now setting up a breeder farm. What really matters when setting this up? Now, this is where many people make mistakes. Breeder birds are not like normal layers you can manage carelessly. They require more attention, more planning, and more discipline. Your housing must give them enough space. If they are too crowded, stress will affect mating and the fertility. So, ventilation must be good because heat stress can reduce egg production and the fertility rate. So, cleanliness is not an option right here. One disease outbreak in breeder farm can destroy months of work and thousands of future chicks. So when you are setting up, don't think cheap, think correct. Okay, so the secret of the fertility between the male and the female, let us balance it now. So one of the most important things in breeder farming is something many farmers ignore: the balance between the male and the female birds. So if you don't get this right, your eggs will not be fertile. Many males will cause fighting and stress in the pen. All right. So too few males will lead to poor mating. So the goal is to balance the equation. When the birds are comfortable, the health and fertility improves naturally. Okay. So, and remember, no fertility means no chick, and no chicks means no business, and no business actually means no money. So, you have to take that in mind. So, let's head straight to the feeding. This is where discipline comes in. So, feeding breeders is not just giving them as much feed as possible. In fact, overfeeding them is a very big problem. Okay, so when breeder birds become too fat, their fertility the rate drops down. They may lay eggs, but those eggs won't hatch properly. Okay, or might have some deficiency. So one, on the other hand, if you underfeed them, they become weak and the production also drop. So the goal is to control the feeding, to balance the feeding equation. So you feed them based on their stage and monitor their body weight regularly. Okay, so a good breeder farmer doesn't just feed birds, he manages their condition. Okay, so from the egg to the chicks. Once your birds start laying, the next step is handling the eggs properly. This part is very sensitive. You cannot treat fertile eggs just like normal layer eggs. No, it doesn't work that way. They must be collected carefully several times in a day to avoid damage or contamination from the parent stock. Okay? After collection, they should be stored in a cool environment, not too hot, not too cool. Okay? Because inside that egg is a living embryo even before incubation begins. So when it's time, the egg go into the incubator, and over 21 days, with the right temperature and humidity, those eggs transform into chicks. That process is where science meets farming. Okay, so now let's go straight into the biosecurity measures. So this is non-negotiable. Let me be very honest with you. If you ignore biosecurity in breeder farming, you are setting up yourself for future failure. Breeder birds are too valuable to expose to unnecessary risk. So every visitor, every dirty shoe, every contaminated equipment can introduce disease into the farm house. Alright, so you should take note of this. And once disease enters, it doesn't just affect the bird, it affects your future income. So you should be extremely careful. So you must treat your farm like a protected zone. Limit every movement, keep things clean, and stay disciplined. Okay, so common mistake that farmers make: many farmers jump into breeder farming because of the profit, but they ignore the responsibility. So don't manage the feeding properly, some don't even monitor the fertility, and some handle the eggs carelessly, and at the end they start blaming the birds. But the truth is, breeder farming is a system that every part must work correctly for you to achieve a good goal. So now, who should start breeder farming? Breeder farming is not just the best starting point for a complete beginner. It is better for someone who already understands poultry basics. Okay, like managing layers or broilers before, because here small mistakes are expensive in the breeder farming. But if you already have experience and you want to grow bigger, breeder farming is a powerful next step for you. Okay, so now you should take this very important. Breeder farming is not just another poultry business, it is the backbone of poultry production. It requires discipline, knowledge, and attention to details. But once you understand it and do the right thing, it can make your farm go to another level completely. All right, so these are what you need to do to make sure you have a successful poultry farm. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your question in the comment section. And if you want more practical teachings like this to grow your poultry business, stay connected. Thank you and have a wonderful day.